The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Tier Tuesdays here with the HighLowSports podcast. It is DJ, joined, as always, by my co-host, Kelsey. And you know what, Kelsey, we are done with the fantasy football regular season. The NFL regular season is coming to an end. The tiers are getting a little bit of fun. And you know what? We still got a few more weeks to go with a lot to play out.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. One of my work league actually started its playoffs last week. I'm in the semis, the top four, and we have a 2-week first round. And I'm losing my first round by only 3 points, which is great because I had Jalen give me a rough game, but he had Tua. So we're all good right now. You know, we're pretty even. So yeah, no, I you know, this is the best time of year because really the chosen few, if you will come to the top. The cream will rise, if you will, to take Reggie Jackson commentary. It is the best time of the NFL season because not only do you get Christmas football, but you get presents in your team actually looking pretty decent for once.
Well, depends on which your team is as well. But in your case, yes, they're in pretty good shape as well. So without any ado, we're gonna get right into the tiers and we're gonna go from the bottom to the top today. Starting at the bottom, honestly, we're not even gonna talk about these teams. They are bad. We're even gonna include might be bad, as in like, you know what, they have some pretty good wins and some pretty decent records, but they're still not worrying anyone, especially Justin Herbert's done for the year now, it looks like. So you know what? It's my fantasy quarterback who I still somehow won despite his 2 points, but I digress. So those bottom 6 teams, not going to talk about. Might not be so bad. The Bears Justin Fields looks awfully good this last month. The Bears got some decisions to make. The Titans, they're here exclusively because they have 5 wins and that win over Miami. They would be a tier below, but you beat Miami on Monday, and that 2-minute, those last 2 drives by Will Levis, pretty good. I mean, I want to see a drug test after seeing him screaming and flexing afterwards, but you know what? That's good job for the Titans. That's a good win. Won't discredit. Same with the Jets, a good win over the Houston, even with CJ Stroud getting hurt. You still good win. Not a whole lot to say. They're good for Zach Wilson, especially in that weather. Chicken cutlets, Tommy DeVito and the New York Football Giants. If anything, this is the ultimate indictment on Daniel Jones. That is what it is, because it is the same cast of characters who Daniel Jones looked like he couldn't run a preschool offense with, and suddenly Danny DeVito's 3-0 as a starter with him, or 3-1 or whatever it is. And for lack of a better terms, he's cooking. The NFC South, these 3 teams are 6 and 7, and I think we both hate all 3 of them for one reason or another. Tampa Bay finds himself at the top of the division somehow because Baker Mayfield's fourth quarter magic to Kate Otten. Atlanta fans, I'm sorry. You finally had the game where Arthur Smith gets Kyle Pitts in the end zone. Drake London gets 10 targets. Bijan's a multifaceted weapon and gets in the end zone. And just poor coaching and Desmond Ridder being Desmond Ridder, you still lose the game. He throws for 300-plus yards, but those critical mistakes lost you the game. So those in fantasy who have Bijan, Drake London, or Kyle Pitts, still good luck, because now after seeing Arthur Smith see all of them get involved in the loss, he will never let them touch the ball again in unison. So a shame. And then the Saints are the Saints. That team hates Derek Carr, it looks like. When you watch them, offensive linemen are yelling at him. He is a check down king. He's nervous. They don't take to his leadership. Their offense is basically Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara save us. And Chris Olave, he's cooking too, despite all of it as well. Despite Derek Carr yelling at him on a Thursday night game against, I think it was Jacksonville, Chris Olave has been cooking ever since then, despite Derek Carr struggling. Maybe playoffs. These teams are in that giant cluster of 7 and 6 in the AFC and 6 and 7 in the NFC, where they are all 1 game in or 1 game out or right on the cusp. Bills, big win over the Chiefs, but they're in 11th place, but not out of it. Vikings, Josh Dobbs got Justin Jefferson killed and then got effectively benched for it. The Bengals, I don't know how they keep doing it, but they keep finding a way. They absolutely lambasted the Colts. Jake Browning looks like he's playing at Washington again. Those who remember that Washington team, they know. Green Bay, you shouldn't be in this category, but I don't have anywhere else to put you, and you're still in the thick of it. The Rams, dark horse 7th seed. That's a dangerous team if they get the way they're getting rolling, if they stay healthy. Steelers, they're here. Seattle, they just lose too many games, so they're kind of relegated. They're better than this, but they haven't played like it. Denver, you're here as well. They've played really well, but we'll see if they plateaus. The AFC South, as of right now, 2 of these teams are in the playoffs. At any given moment, it could be all 3 of them. At any given moment, who knows what could happen. The 8 and 5, 7 and 6, 7 and 6, they're all right in the thick of it. Kind of the opposite of the NFC South, if you will. Playoff bound. Lions, they're going to the playoffs. They're the kings in the North. That offense, even though they sputtered against the Bears as a team, they'll still be fine, I'm sure. Even if they sputter down the stretch, they have a pretty good stronghold on that okay division. The Browns, 4 different quarterbacks, several different injuries. That defense got up a little up and down. They find a way to keep Flacco's been fabulous. You know as well as anyone, Northeast Ohio has Flacco fever right now. They have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. They just look good and find ways to win. The Dolphins, they are frauds. They are can crushers, but they have enough wins and enough couple easier wins down the stretch. They'll be able to get to 10 or 11 and win the division. Castle's crumbling Taylor's version. Both of these teams have a Kelsey and a Swift on their team. Both of them were supposed to be the two kingdoms coming into the season. They were crumbling right before our eyes. The Eagles couldn't score an offensive touchdown. The Chiefs are basically offsiding themselves on some ridiculous play, losing the game, and Patrick Mahomes is short-circuiting 3 times over. And they'll both be in the playoffs. We both expect them to be okay, but neither one of us is putting a penny on them to do anything at this point. We are not touching them. The favorites, the Ravens, the 49ers, mainstays. And for the first time all season, Kelsey's Dallas Cowboys, they've officially checked every box. They've now beat a team with a winning record and held that offense out of the end zone. And Dak is the front runner for MVP at this point. So as much as you hate it, they have earned it at this point. So we can't exactly call them tuna can crushers anymore. Kelsey, by the way, the 49ers first team to clinch a playoff spot on the season as well, too. So of course they're up here as well. So Kelsey, lead us through.
Yeah, that's where I want to start. Niners need to go to the first of the favorites. Like
Okay,
they
I'll
are
start by saying it's not left to right, everybody. It's just everyone globbed in there.
I
But
know,
for the sake of reading, we will put the 49ers up there just because.
just so the comments don't come at us. Like the Niners are the favorites right now. Yeah, thank you. That was going to be my next move. No. Okay, so let's start with the Niners. Niners look fantastic. Absolutely top to bottom. Brock Purdy, I'll say it again for people who don't seem to understand what I mean. He is a great game manager. Game managers are not a bad thing in the NFL. In college, they're a terrible thing. In the NFL, they're fantastic. That is exactly what you want as a game manager like Brock Purdy, who is doing absolutely everything he can in his power within that offense to make the right plays. And he does. He makes the right plays 7 out of 10 times. The 3 times he doesn't, he's able to get enough yardage that it's not a sack of 13 yards. You know, you're not seeing those big losses. So, yeah, what Brock Purdy is doing, what this entire offense is doing is absolutely fantastic. Take nothing away from him. Brandon Ayuk looks like a solidified 1B right now for this team. Deebo Samuel, I still say he's the 1A, but
he might be an all-pro now. He might be taking that all-pro spot from A.J. Brown, him or CeeDee Lamb. We talked about a few weeks ago, A.J. Brown and Tyreek are those all-pros that's locked and loaded a few weeks ago. Well, A.J. Brown's Chipotle might have slipped out of there. Now Deebo and CeeDee are kind of fighting for that spot.
Whatever Deebo's taking, I want some of it. He might be on that magic mind as well, so maybe I am already on it. But no, like he is having a fantastic time. George Kittle, 50% blocker, 50%. I'm gonna run over you. I'm gonna run over you or run past you on my way to the end zone. Take your pick. He's gonna do either one. He showed everything in the arsenal of what he can do as a tight end and why he's one of the best tight ends in the game. Arguably the best tight end this season, I'd say.
Brock Purdy throwing a bunch of hospital balls at him, but luckily he's built like a brick. You know what? House he could take a few of them, then come back and score a touchdown later.
Absolutely. So yeah, Niners right now well deserving of the favorite spot. No questions asked. Ravens, that defense by itself is well deserving of a spot. But then you throw in exactly what we were hoping we'd see from Lamar, which is him going across the middle, him going over down the sidelines to receivers. It looks fantastic. He is escaping. He looks actually mobile again. It's been 2 years really of injuries that we've seen for him. So he hasn't been the same Lamar that we saw coming out of college. I watched him make a run this weekend that I'm just like, that's a joystick run. That is literally me playing with a joystick on easy mode in Madden. And I'm like, just run. Only one with sprint options. So Lamar absolutely looks fantastic. It doesn't matter who's in their backfield. They're all going to eat. That entire receiving core is great. So yes, Ravens up there. Cowboys, I could say a lot of bad things about the Cowboys, but I don't need to. Honestly, this team is actually surprising me right now. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid yet today. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'm still tossing. Every night I change my mind. But you know what? They looked great against the Eagles. At the end of the day, you can only beat what's in front of you. And you can only do what you can with on the field. Deron Bland looked great. As much as I razzed on him last week for his performance, this week he looked great. Didn't give up yards at all.
We're looking 27 again as well.
Yeah. That whole defense, I mean, really top to bottom. Micah Parsons setting a record only Reggie White had. So absolutely fantastic top to bottom defensively. Offensively, I still have questions, but they're being quelled. the fact Robert Turbin is such, or not Robert Turbin, but Turpin is such a weapon for this offense. It's about time. I mean, really, you're talking about one of the most dynamic athletes on this team. It's about time you get him involved. Just find ways to get him involved, and you see what he's able to do. Adding that, Tony Pollard's looking capable, running in, whether it's between the tackles or outside. So, top to bottom, yes, I agree. This team is their favorite, but I'm still obviously holding out and waiting to see if the other shoe drops eventually, just because that's what I've experienced as a Cowboys fan. But for all intents and purposes, from a neutral standpoint, the Cowboys do look really good. Moving into the next round, nothing to say about these two. Yeah.
Get it together, former favorites.
You know what? Whereas you might say you don't want to put anything on these teams. While I don't want to put anything on these teams, if I'm on the opposing team, I don't really want to face either one of these teams either, because at any point in time they can go out for 40, and for any point in time they can absolutely shut you down just as quickly.
They look bad, but by name value alone, the betting odds are not going to give you anything nice with them. So it's like, well, what's the point at this point? Because they're just going to let me down more than likely. Even if they win, it's going to be like, well, great.
Yeah, and like I talked about with Katie in the playoffs last year in basketball, Kadarius Toney needs to check his toes, check with the judge, check with the line judge. That's what they're there for. You're literally allowed to do it. You might as well take advantage of it, because you should never be called for a penalty for offsides as a receiver. You should never be called for misaligning as a receiver, because literally the referee that is the only position the referee tells you how to line up.
All you have to do is point and say, I'm on or I'm off. I did it in high school. It was that easy. And you looked, they showed the video. He looked and then looked away before he was, and then reset. It's like you took a full step forward after you pointed. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's not just that. He did it almost 5 to 6 times. Shout out Dan Orlovsky for going through the tape on this one, so I don't have to. 5 or 6 times in the game that he was actually physically equal or in front of the line, and they only called one. Which I get you're angry because of that, because they called the one and it's at the crucial time. When else are they going to call it? They're not going to call it when it didn't matter. Let's be honest. That's not what they do.
Attention of detail, which has been Kadarius Toney's full career, and now at this point, it's kind of been a detriment to the Chiefs all season.
Yeah, I mean, it explains his whole career. Moving into the playoff, yeah, I have nothing to say about two of these teams. Tua, as long as Tyreek is healthy, will be fine. The Browns, though, you're running, you're rolling, you have 4 quarterbacks getting you to this point, and then your quarterback could just throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. You relegate him back to the practice squad, where he is now available for any team in the NFL to come and get. While Flacco has since stated that he is willing and happy to stay with the Browns, and the Browns expect to sign him to the full roster. As of this morning, he is on the practice squad, which is ridiculous. Don't do that, Browns. Stop playing with your talent. It's obvious Joe Flacco's out here ready to ball. And I mean, there were some wide open receivers in this game that were miles open. I mean, David Njoku on the first touchdown, the dude could have fallen down twice, gotten back up, and backpedaled into the end zone. That's how open he was. That was insane. So shout out Browns. First time since, what was it, 1974 that a team has had 4 quarterbacks. 1970 something. Team has had 4 different quarterbacks in a season and won 8 games. It's stupid.
Who knows? Flacco won a Super Bowl for the old Browns. Maybe a win-win for the new Browns at this point, the way it's going.
Yeah, that's fair. So going to AFC South, just AFC South by itself. CJ Stroud, unfortunate injury, probably done for the season along with Tank Dell. That's unfortunate to see. Hopefully he comes back. I don't have the full report yet, so holding out hope. The Colts. Hot and cold. I don't get it anymore. You know what? I'm gonna give up trying to figure out this team. I'm just gonna sit here and just watch, because they could be in the playoffs, they could be out. I don't know where they're going. But they're there.
Currently in the playoffs right now, but they're still in it somehow.
Yeah, they could be there. I don't know at the end of the day. Gardner Minshew is, I don't get it. It's like on one side he's an inferno, the other side he's icy cold, and during the middle of a drive he'll just flip flop. I won't get it.
He's a flame Axe body spray with a lighter. You just got to figure out which direction it's facing.
Jaguars, figure it out. I don't know what the heck to say. That defense looked awful against the Browns. Figure it out. Maybe playoffs. I mean, this list is stupid long. The only one I really want to talk about, other than Jake Browning, is the Vikings, and Josh Dobbs is returned back to the planet Earth. You can't get Jay Jettas killed. That was like your one saving grace. You almost got TJ Hawkinson killed in the same game. So you getting replaced by Nick Mullins is not the most shocking thing I've ever seen. Unfortunately, that happened. But
I heard earlier too. I think he threw one that got Jordan Addison knocked out of a game a couple weeks ago too.
Yeah. So look, I mean, Josh Dobbs had a great run there. But you got tape on you now. Nick Mullins has always had this weird knack of just winning stupid games too. It doesn't make sense. So Vikings might get there. I don't know. Whereas Jake Browning looking like Jeff Garcia of the Niners, coming in after an injury and just, oh, hey, by the way, I can lead you to a playoff too. Last time he was in the playoffs was in college. So we'll see how that goes. It was a quick exit, but I mean, hey, you did it. So we'll see. Part of the only division that has 4 winning teams. So Bengals shocking there. Every other team. What's up?
Who needs Joe Burr, right?
Yeah, who needs Joe Burr? You're fine.
Who's that guy? Trade him now and that contract.
Yeah, Zach Charbonnet filling in well for the Seahawks. Maybe look at him for fantasy playoffs. Broncos. I've said it before. Courtland Sutton was the most underrated receiver in the league. He is showing he is one of the best receivers in the league this year. The plays he's making for Russ are making Russ look good. Russ is underthrowing a lot of these touchdown balls, but Courtland Sutton doesn't care. Courtland Sutton is going to show you what's up, and it's fantastic. Yeah, good for Courtland Sutton, for the Broncos, second in the division. We'll see if they can make the playoffs. NFC South, I have nothing to say here. I hate everything about this division. Get out of here. Boo. I'm curious to know what Tommy DeVito's favorite cutlet is. If it's just a straight chicken cutlet sandwich, or if he likes a little parm, if he likes a little sauce on there. Not gravy, mind you. Gravy's brown. Sauce has meat in it. Get it right, folks.
I believe it was parm with a little bit of red wine sauce.
Okay, a little red sauce. All right, that's, you know what? That's respectable. That's a fantastic, respectable chicken cutlet sandwich. Shout out Tommy DeVito for what he's doing, and thank you for finally getting Isaiah Hodgins involved. Not just Isaiah Hodgins, but you're also getting your first round draft pick receiver involved. Just shout out Giants.
Got Wan'Dale Robinson involved. You're getting Jalen Hyatt, who you drafted in there as well too. You're getting guys involved finally, and you're
getting your high draft pick receivers involved might win you some games. I mean, geez, that's such a hard concept.
Just imagine if they have Darren Waller now that they actually have competent quarterback play, which once again, indictment on Mr. Career high 15 touchdown passes in a season, Daniel Jones. Maybe, no, you never know. You might. I digress.
Yeah, digress. Anyways, speaking of hard concepts to understand, that is the Chicago Bears. Why you want to get rid of Justin Fields when what you're watching on the field is so fantastic, I don't get it. Give this man an actual team more than DJ Moore as a weapon. I'm sorry, because you haven't seen it up until now, but literally it's been DJ Moore. There's no running back in this team. It is Justin Fields. His second weapon is Darnell Mooney, who literally just showed up for the first game all season. And the offensive line is not great, getting better, but is still not great. They're doing what they can. Darnell Wright is looking fantastic out there. Jones on the left side is looking great. In between them, there's some help need to be done there. That defense, though,
what's that trade?
Losing games. It's not his offense.
Since that trade, though, they've won. Their defense has been top 10, and they've been winning during that point. So
getting Montez Sweat, he's a fantastic defensive player. He was kind of overshadowed on that defensive line in Washington. We see what his talent is.
All that's left is pay Jalen Johnson. Do not let him walk.
Yeah. Maybe not the super contract he wants, but just pay him.
Pretty darn close.
Yeah. Titans, wow. Speaking of pretty darn close, I don't know what to expect anymore. Will Levis, that Mayo must be providing a lot of protein for him because he looked yoked and he was playing out of his mind. Maybe that Mayo and coffee is some kind of steroid that we don't know about. Maybe it's some performance enhancer. Tastes so bad that it just sends you out like a rocket. I don't know. Extra propulsion maybe coming out the other end. I don't get it, but Will Levis, shout out to you for what you did. Don't get it. Anyways, the Jets are exactly who we thought they were when they have a capable quarterback at quarterback. And I'm not talking about Zach Wilson. I'm just talking about Zach Wilson in this game. This team, before the CJ Stroud injury, was still killing the Texans. Like it was 24-7 when CJ goes out. So, yeah, pretty good performance for the Jets top to bottom. That defense can show up and will show up at times. It's just a matter of can you get them consistently to show up and can you not keep them on the field? As what for 38 or almost 38 minutes in some games. I mean, they literally have one of the longest times on field for any other unit. It's silly. So yeah, get the Jets some help at quarterback, and I feel like they can sustain some drives, and you might see some more wins. I hate that Zach Wilson is such a flippy floppy quarterback because he could be so good and then absolute trash the next minute. It's like Gardner Minshew all over again. But yeah, and then I'm not talking about the next 6 teams, except for I will say this about the Patriots. You should have kept Malik Cunningham, and you should have turned to Bailey Zappi sooner. That's all I'm saying. By the way, Bailey Zappi, Hunter Henry is still out there. Just throwing it out there for my fantasy team. He is existing. Still feel free to get him points.
That seems like a very reasonable request. And you know what? At this point, maybe he's vying for the job, so the Patriots don't take a Drake May or a Caleb Williams. We'll have to wait and see. It would be the very Patriots thing to play themselves right out of that spot. So this is what we're looking at for Tier Tuesdays. Everyone, let us know in the comments what we got right, what we got wrong, and what you would change. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for our live show. But until then, we will see you all again